At my baby's first birthday party, my husband's sister handed me divorce papers. Everyone clapped when he said, "She signed a prenup. She leaves with nothing." His mother added, "You were always temporary." I turned to them, held up a USB, and said, "Then I guess you should see what's on this camera from the hotel room in Miami." It's been 2 years since that day, but I remember every second like it's seared into my skin. We were in the backyard of our house in Charlotte, North Carolina, celebrating Lily's first birthday. Pink balloons tied to the fence, tables set up with cupcakes, friends and family gathered around, smiling, laughing, taking photos. I had spent weeks planning this. I thought it was going to be a beautiful day for my daughter. And then Marcus walked up, holding a glass of champagne, looking like the king of the world. His sister, Danielle, was right behind him, carrying a manila envelope. She handed it to me with this smug little smirk, and I could feel my stomach drop. I knew it was bad, but I wasn't ready for this. Inside were divorce papers. Marcus held up his glass, grinning wide like he just won the lottery. She signed a prenup. She leaves with nothing. And then his mother, Evelyn, leaned over and added, loud enough for everyone to hear, "You were always temporary." The entire crowd, his family, some friends, even a few people I thought were my friends, laughed. They clapped. Like it was some kind of show and I was the pathetic woman getting booted off stage. I felt the blood drain from my face. My hands were shaking, but I forced myself to breathe. I reached into my pocket, pulled out the USB drive I had been holding onto for a week. I held it up high, staring Marcus down, and said, "Clear as day, then I guess you should see what's on this camera from the hotel room in Miami." Dead silence. The color drained from Marcus's face. Evelyn's smile froze. Danielle's eyes went wide. I looked right at Marcus. "You want to serve me papers at our daughter's first birthday party, in front of all these people? Fine. But let's show them the whole story, shall we?" I had been holding on to that video for this exact moment. A month before Lily's birthday, Marcus told me he had a business trip in Miami. He had been taking a lot of these trips lately, always at the worst times, always with a vague explanation. I wasn't stupid. I knew something was off. So I did what I never thought I'd do. I hired a private investigator. I told myself I was paranoid, that I was just trying to put my mind at ease. The PI got back to me with the truth I had been too afraid to face. Marcus wasn't in Miami for business. He was at a 5-star hotel with a woman named Tiffany. The photos and receipts were one thing, but the real blow was the video. The camera caught them in the act, him and Tiffany, naked, laughing, doing things I don't even want to describe. Marcus had been cheating on me for months. I could have confronted him then and there. But I waited. I waited because I knew Marcus, and I knew the kind of man he was. I knew he'd try to screw me over, and I knew I needed to be ready when he did. So I sat on that evidence, holding on to it like a weapon, waiting for the day he'd try to ruin me. And that day came at Lily's first birthday party. After I dropped the bomb about the video, I plugged the USB into the projector we had set up for the birthday slideshow. The same projector Marcus was planning to use to humiliate me in front of everyone. The footage played. Marcus. Tiffany. The hotel room. Clear as day. You could hear their voices, their laughter. You could see everything. The party went dead silent. Evelyn gasped and covered her mouth. Danielle stared at the screen, her face white as a sheet. Marcus tried to lunge for the laptop, but my brother, who had seen the video ahead of time, stepped in front of him. "Don't even think about it," he said. Marcus shouted, "It's fake. She's making it up." But the timestamps, the hotel receipts, the credit card charges, they were all there, scrolling across the screen. Danielle started crying. Evelyn looked like she wanted to sink into the ground. I looked Marcus dead in the eyes and said, "You wanted to humiliate me? You wanted to blindside me at our daughter's birthday? Guess what, Marcus, you just destroyed yourself. And about that prenup? Adultery nullifies it. You leave me with nothing. I'll never forget the sound of the room, first the shocked silence, then the whispers, then the explosion of chaos. People started gathering their things, some looking at Marcus in disgust, others just shaking their heads. His business partners were there too. Yeah, he invited them to the party. They saw everything. I watched one of them mutter, "He's finished," before slipping out. Marcus stood there, frozen. His face twisted in rage, then panic, then defeat. He looked at his mother for help, but she just stared at him like she didn't even know who he was. Danielle? She wouldn't even look at him. I didn't wait for him to say another word. I picked up Lily from her high chair, held her close, and walked inside. My heart was racing, my hands were still shaking, but I felt a power I hadn't felt in years. I wasn't done. Not even close. I sat in the nursery that night, rocking Lily back and forth as she slept against my shoulder. The house was quiet now. The party had ended in chaos, and people had scattered, some too embarrassed to say goodbye, others whispering apologies as they left. I didn't care. I wasn't doing this for them. I stared at the USB still in my hand. It felt heavy, like a symbol of everything I'd been through. And then my phone started blowing up. First, it was Marcus. Text after text. "You've ruined my life. We need to talk. You're going to regret this. This wasn't the place or time for that. We can fix this. Don't ruin everything." I stared at the screen, feeling the rage bubble up again. Marcus always thought he could manipulate his way out of anything. Not this time. Then Danielle started calling. I let it go to voicemail. Finally, Evelyn sent a long text, "You humiliated this family. We gave you everything, and you repay us with this? You'll regret this, mark my words." I stared at her message, then laughed. Really laughed. She thought I'd regret this? I took a deep breath and started making my next move. The following week was chaos. Marcus tried to do damage control, but it wasn't working. His business partners saw the video, and rumors were spreading. I started getting calls from women, other women, telling me they had been with Marcus too. One of them, a woman named Chloe, told me she was pregnant. Pregnant. That's when it hit me, Marcus wasn't just a cheater, he was reckless. I sent the evidence to my lawyer. Every last detail. The video, the financial records, the receipts, the texts from the other women. Everything. Danielle showed up at my doorstep a few days later, looking pale and anxious. I didn't let her in. She begged me to listen, tears streaming down her face. I didn't know, I swear. I thought he was happy with you. He told us you were holding him back, that you were a burden. A burden. That word stung more than I wanted to admit. Danielle kept talking. He told us the prenup was solid, that you were just some phase, that once the baby was older, he'd start over. I didn't know about the other women. I'm so sorry. I stared at her for a long time. I wanted to slam the door in her face, but I didn't. Instead, I let her in, sat her down, and listened. And what she told me? It only got worse. Marcus had been embezzling money from the family business. Small amounts here and there, funneling it into offshore accounts. Danielle had stumbled on some of it by accident, but Marcus convinced her it was nothing. Evelyn, of course, had no clue. Or so Danielle claimed. It all made sense now. Marcus wasn't just a cheater, he was a liar, a fraud, and a ticking time bomb. And the best part? I had the receipts to prove it. A week later, my lawyer and I filed for divorce and filed a lawsuit for fraud, citing Marcus's financial misconduct and the multiple counts of adultery that voided the prenup. Marcus tried to fight it. He tried everything, threatening me, guilt-tripping me, even showing up at my house unannounced. My brother, thank God, was staying with me by then. He made sure Marcus never got past the porch. I heard Marcus was spiraling. His business partners were dropping him, the board was voting him out, and the IRS had been tipped off. And then came the final twist. A woman named Natalie reached out to me, someone I didn't even know. She had been married to Marcus, 2 years before me. He had done it all before. The cheating, the financial lies, the manipulation, the family betrayal. He had a pattern. Natalie told me her story, and it was like listening to a mirror of my own life. Same smooth talk, same business trips, same promises. I realized Marcus wasn't just a bad husband. He was a serial con man, and I wasn't the first woman he had tried to destroy. And now, I was going to be the last. 2 months later, we were in court. Marcus sat across from me in that stiff, cold courtroom in downtown Charlotte. His once flawless suit looked a little rumpled now, and for the first time, I noticed the deep lines on his face. His hands fidgeted constantly. He couldn't sit still. Danielle was on my side of the courtroom. So was my brother, my parents, and even some of Marcus's former friends who had turned their backs on him after the video leaked. Evelyn? She sat alone. Her face was tight, her hair perfect as always, but her eyes betrayed her. She looked small. The judge went through everything. The prenup, voided due to the multiple counts of adultery. The evidence of fraud and embezzlement. Verified by my lawyer, the forensic accountant, and even the IRS agents who had been brought in. Marcus tried to play the victim, blaming stress, blaming me, blaming the pressures of family life. But it didn't work. I sat there, stone-faced, as the judge read the final ruling, full custody of Lily awarded to me. Marcus ordered to pay back taxes, penalties, and restitution to the family business. The court granted me a portion of his remaining assets, including his car, the house in Charlotte, and even the condo in Miami where he had cheated on me. The judge turned to Marcus and said, flatly, "You have no one to blame but yourself." And just like that, it was done. But karma wasn't finished. Marcus's business empire crumbled. His partner sued him for damages. He lost his seat on the board. The luxury cars were repossessed. The bank foreclosed on his condo. His credit was ruined. He ended up renting a tiny, run-down apartment in a bad part of town. I heard from a friend that Tiffany left him after the money dried up. And the other women? They ghosted him. Then, about 6 months after the divorce, I got a call from the IRS. They had found even more offshore accounts Marcus had tried to hide, accounts tied to money laundering. The case escalated to federal charges. Marcus was arrested. At the trial, Danielle testified against him. Evelyn tried to stay silent, but the feds were relentless. They traced some of the funds to family accounts, and Evelyn was slapped with hefty fines for willful ignorance. Her reputation in her social circles tanked. She was basically shunned. The day Marcus was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison, I stood outside the courthouse, holding Lily's hand. He walked by in handcuffs, flanked by federal agents, and our eyes locked for a split second. He looked broken. No suit. No swagger. Just a man who thought he was untouchable, finally learning what it felt like to lose everything. I didn't say a word. I just turned and walked away. A year later, the nonprofit I started for single mothers, funded by the very money Marcus once tried to steal from me, was thriving. We were helping women escape abusive relationships, rebuild their lives, and find their own strength. Danielle became one of our biggest donors. She and I had an honest conversation. She owned up to her part, and while we'd never be close, I let her into Lily's life. She became Lily's godmother, like a twisted redemption arc. Evelyn? She sold her house and moved to a retirement community in Florida. Last I heard, she spends her days alone, her friends long gone. As for Marcus? He's still in prison. And when he gets out? He'll have nothing waiting for him, no money, no family, no respect. And me? I'm raising Lily in a safe, loving home. We laugh together, we dance in the kitchen, we build pillow forts. I tell her stories at night, but I never tell her how her father tried to ruin us. That's not her burden to carry. But me? I'll carry it gladly, every day, because I survived it. And I won.